We have these stories on repeat, and they're typically the same story that repeat over and over and over again. I'm not good enough. I have to hustle to make things happen. A big story I've carried for most of my life is if I don't do it, nobody else will. And it's something that has infiltrated itself in majorly in my career, like just overriding myself and doing too much and just trying to take on the burden of everybody else and doing everybody else's work. And so that story's over for me.
Gabby Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
Someone who is listening right now, they feel down in the dumps. They can't get out of their own way. They feel like everything's against them, and they've almost leaned into the narrative of negativity. What are the tools that you would give them to pull them out of that funk?
Okay. I have a lot of tools. I have 10 books of tools. I have a coaching membership of tools. I have a podcast with you guys of tools. And so the first thing I have to say before we go into these tools, like these quick tips and methods, we're acknowledging that people have big stuff that's generational. It's experiences from our childhood that create these parts of ourselves that continue to show up and show up and show up. And they're belief systems that we carry. And so healing those belief systems sometimes can be big work. But the beginning stages of healing those belief systems, and we manifest what we believe. So the beginning stages of healing those belief systems first begins one with your desire to change and your desire to start to shift your energy. And so even just pressing play and listening to this episode right now and saying, oh, I want to transform my mindset, that was a step in the right direction to start to create that change and create momentum around it. And so the first thing I would recognize is that we have to identify those belief systems that we carry that are holding us back.
So if someone were to wake up tomorrow morning, is there like an exercise that you would have them do? Is it like a meditation? Is it, a writing exercise? Is there something that they can do just to like go in the right direction?
Because it sounds like a process, but I feel like a lot of people don't even know where to begin with this stuff.
Yeah. So first step would really be notice the story that you have on repeat.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So what's your story? Is it I'm not good enough? Is it I can't get that to happen? Do you guys have a story you would share? Like, what's your story that you just keep repeating, repurposing?
I think that it's interesting to observe how you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And to step back and listen to the way you talk to yourself. When I was losing 50 pounds after I had a baby, my story was like, this weight is never going to come off. This is so annoying. I feel fat. And then I realized that I was talking to myself like that, and I completely edited it.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not going to do this. I was like, I'm losing weight. I'm feeling great. I'm making changes. I'm on a good trajectory. That just little change of being aware of the way I spoke to myself changed my whole experience.
Yeah, it's often asking yourself, am I a fault finder or a solution seeker?
Yes.
So when we have these stories on repeat, and they're typically the same story that repeat over and over and over again. I'm not good enough. I have to hustle to make things happen. A big story I've carried for most of my life is if I don't do it, nobody else will. And it's something that has infiltrated itself in majorly in my career, like just overriding myself and doing too much and just trying to take on the burden of everybody else and doing everybody else's work. And so that story's over for me. Like I have a clear boundary with that story now. And when I notice myself stepping into it, I pause. I take a moment. I connect to the part of me that feels that way.
And what if you replaced it with?
Well, at this stage, I'm starting to replace it with, I have a boundary and I have an expectation that I want to be in my creative energy. And the only way that I can be creative is for people to support me around me. And so it's coming back to something positive. It's like, I want to, so in the case of you with the weight, it's like, instead of saying, oh, I have to lose the weight and putting some sort of negative connotation behind it, I've got to lose the weight. I've got to feel better. This is bad for me. Being like, I want to be healthy in my body so I can thrive. I want to be healthy in my body so I can run around with my kids, whatever that story is. For me, I want everybody stepping the up around me so I can be as creative as I could possibly be.